Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations in Horror, the podcast. I am your host, Kevin L. Powers. I'm also the owner operator of Something Wicked Entertainment and Events, and I want to welcome you to this glorious Valentine's Day 2026. And what better way to kind of get into this great horror-filled holiday than to discuss horror-filled Valentine's Day films? Now, the film we're going to be talking about is actually celebrating its 25th anniversary, and that is the film Valentine from 2001. Lo and behold, I didn't know that until we watched it, but it's going to be fun. And to join in on the fun this holiday season, we have got the amazing Dave Watkins and Mr. John Conkle here on the show today. Thank you guys for joining.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
HVD.
And I do have to say that as we're getting started, I had not seen this movie in 25 years. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. At least I hope it will be. To get us all started, how did you guys come across seeing this film, and what kind of were your general impressions? And we're going to assume that if you haven't seen this film, we're gonna spoil it for you anyways, because what better way to get through Valentine's than to spoil something for you? So go ahead.
Spoiler, this movie spoils itself within 5 minutes. All right. So if the spoiler is not a spoiler. So you figured it out by watching the intro of the movie. So blah blah.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, you're talking to Uncle. What was your
right?
First time
the twist was shocking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so I know, Dave. It hit you like a Mack truck, It's like Bruce Willis being a ghost. It's like, what?
Shit.
What?
Wait a minute.
What? I've got to recontextualize the whole movie. Yeah. I heard about this movie when it came out. And it was those dark early years of the 2000s when, just things were our beloved genre was just floundering. And I saw it coming out. And I didn't see it at the theater. I saw it, I thought, for the first time 2 nights ago, but then I was watching it and I was going like, wait a minute, I've seen this, and my brain had just completely forgotten about it. And so it was kind of like going like remembering a bad dream. But I mean, so yeah, I had seen it before, forgot I had watched it, and then watched it again the other night. And then I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is a movie I've already seen. Who knew? Anyway, Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
So last year we did Picnic at Hanging Rock for Valentine's Day. Which is an awesome movie, but I didn't know if we could be better than that. But then now we have Valentine from 2001. My Bloody Valentine the year before that, by the way, which is awesome.
Right.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of this film.
Right.
A little bit. Now, as far as my experience with this film, it's one of these, and what we were talking about earlier. Here's what happened. In 1996, of course, Scream came out, and there was like tons of movies that wanted to be Scream, including another movie that this same director directed, Urban Legend. And of course, there was like, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Not this one hardly, but my first experience with it, I bought it on DVD. Like, it was probably several years after it was out, and I watched it. And like John, I didn't remember it very good. 5 years ago, I bought the Scream Factory Blu-ray of it, and I watched it, and I liked it better. Mm-hmm. It may have been just because I made the effort to buy the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and it had a pretty cool cover, because the killer in it wears like a really goofy-looking Cupid mask, and on the cover of it, he's wearing it. So, but as far as like, it tries to be a murder mystery, and it's based on a novel by Tom Savage, and that I've never read, but I did read a little bit about the novel, and apparently the novel is completely different than this movie. This movie looks like it took his idea and tried to turn it into like Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer, but it was it's a murder mystery. But here this is it seems a little generic, like he was saying, but I got some. I think there's some good stuff in the film too that I'll touch on while we talk about it more. But this time when I watched it, I vaguely remembered it from 5 years ago, and there's some There's some good deaths in the movie, and I do like the actresses in the film, most of them. I think that they are likable, and I think they're having a fun time. I'm not as happy with the way the male characters are written. I don't know what. Now, there's two issues with it. The first one, the first time I noticed the male, like for the first time you see, anytime there's a male character, they're going to be a shithead in this movie.
Absolutely.
Every one of them. But a lot of it has to do with them being red herrings for the murder mystery. But what the worst sequence to me is there's like a speed dating sequence, and then they go into this with speed dating. It's like yeah, but it's like it was like in everything in this 2001. But then every guy that they talk to is like a caricature or a cartoon. It's like the goofiest shit, and it really doesn't work in the film.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I was watching, I agree, Dave. What makes the twist-a-roo so is like there's only one guy in the whole movie who is kind of a normal guy. All right, and everybody else is a Looney Tune. All right, a complete, total one-dimensional stereotype. And I was going like, now had this been written by like Deborah Hill, or something like that, I'd be going like, oh, this is probably like a comment. Is the movie trying to comment on? Modern dating and just like that every guy is terrible. And
they are terrible though.
Every guy in this movie's world is a buffoon or a perv or a total spaz, and nobody is got when the kids say Riz. Nobody has any Riz in this movie. Yeah. All right, except one guy. One guy is like just a nice, bland, normal. Here's the problem.
But he is an alcoholic, recovering alcoholic.
Okay. He's got one characteristic. They gave him one human quality. Otherwise, he is just a sea of beige. Okay, but everybody else is like Looney Tune cartoon colors.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just that was so annoying. It was funny, but you couldn't. But so it made the movie kind of work as a comedy, I think. But I don't think that's maybe. I don't know if it was supposed to be comedy.
Yeah. No, I think Kevin needs to tell us what he thinks. But I do want to say.
I'll let you guys put your.
I want to address a couple of things.
Yes, please.
I think this approach worked really good in a recent movie called The Substance. And where all the guys were shitheads like that for the most part, especially Dennis Quaid's character. But as far as we talk about the writers, so there's 4 credited writers for this friggin' movie. I don't know what happened. I would like to know more about the process. But the main 2 still work together, and they made that Star Trek Enterprise show, which wasn't that well. It wasn't well received as far as I know. I saw a lot of people really not liking the way the characters are written on the show. And the other 2 people, you can't even click on them on Wikipedia. They do have IMDb pages though, but I don't know what the process. But they both have a weird last name, Powers.
I didn't write it.
You know him, Kevin.
Right. It's like Donna Powers and Wayne Powers. I assume they're probably related. So I don't know what the process was. I don't know if these 2 writers, the Powers, maybe wrote another script to begin with, and then these other 2 writers were like, okay, we're doing a second draft of this thing. And we're going to make all the male characters shitty or whatever. So I don't But I mean, they clearly had a problem with this murder mystery and trying to give a lot of red herrings and trying to make you think that everybody might be a killer. And there's one of the women who would have been the most plausible killer that would have worked really well. Did they make you think that briefly later on? But that twist would have actually sold it a little bit better. But we got that opening sequence that shows them younger. That were the let's talk about the opening sequence in a minute. We should let Kevin talk about. He may even want to address the opening sequence.
I have a different outlook of this movie because I saw it at the theater when it came out, and you have to take in reference the time period in which it was released. This movie is filled with all these popular actors who were popular at that time. David Boreanaz, this is his first film after doing Buffy. And they were trying to make him into a heartthrob. When you know that going in, you already know he's the killer before you even watch the movie. This wasn't trying very hard. to be a murder mystery film.
Real quick, a little trivia, real quick on that. They apparently only had him for like 10 days of shooting, and so that they had to change the script because of that too.
I guarantee you, he was shooting on the television show, whether it was Buffy or I think it was Buffy when this came out. But David Boreanaz wanted to break out into films. Unfortunately, it did not work. He did this. The Crow, Wicked Prayer, and I think a couple other movies that no one remembers. And then he went back to television.
He does a hell of a good. He's got a hell of a run on television.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think he still has a popular show on there.
He's in Bones for a while. I think it's The Unit or something like that. It's
like,
something like The Unit. It may not be The Unit,
but
some
you had Denise Richards, Marley Shelton, Jessica Caulfield, and Katherine Heigl before she went off to Roswell, and Jessica Capshaw, who went off to do lots of shows after that. But these were all these popular TV actors, which was popular in those days when we got
Spielberg is her stepfather.
And I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they were populating them with people whose faces people had seen in television. Now, this has a very feminist bent to it, and I knew that going in. It's Valentine's. Valentine's Day is a feminist holiday to begin fucking with. It's not really about the males, it's about the females. So when you go in watching that, you have to kind of put that in perspective. And for it to be funny, and it was funny when I first saw it 25 years ago. And I still remembered most of this movie when I rewatched it. I remembered most of this movie. You're watching it and you have these ideals on what Valentine's Day is like. It's a date movie, and it's a movie in which it caters towards the female audience more so than the male audience because it's Valentine's.
But it is a slasher film, though.
Yes, but at that time, you had Scream, which had become a huge date film. You had all these movies that normal people who wouldn't go see a horror film started to go as date movies. I took dates to go see Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And we didn't do that shit beforehand. That's what these movies were geared towards, which is why I guarantee you that's why they made a Valentine's themed slasher movie in the early 2000s. That's the whole reason why they could get date people to go see that shit. But the thing was, having the 25 years in between, it's really, really, really obvious the way they crafted the red herrings in this film. And the fact that all the male characters are shitty men characters. Like they're shitty. They're designed to be that way. I mean, they're literally designed to be that way.
It's almost like these women had bad experiences with men, and they were like really just like showed just their kind of idea of how it made them feel with the male characters.
Well, it is because every one of the female characters is looking for a good guy, and they never find it in this film. They're always like, there's that like you mentioned the turbo dating sequence towards the beginning of the film, but there's also the other sequence where the Lily character and Paige character are at home watching a video of another guy who they asked the video for. And then, of course, they all think that their boyfriends are perfect until someone else has to steer them the wrong way. In Lily's character and Max, Lily thinks that she's got a great guy in Max until Max wants to bring Miss Amy into make a little threesome there. And then, of course,
in a really odd place too. It was just like it's like the location for that of anything makes it like there's not even a fucking bed there. It's like that should have been introduced a little more carefully than the way that it was introduced. I'm not talking about in the movie. Like if they really wanted to get that going, it should have been a little more like not just the girl shows up taking her top off and in a really awkward place.
Are you saying that people in this movie don't act like the way people would actually act? I think that might be the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
But keep in mind that the female characters are not all that 100% innocent either.
But there are some of them. Well, the main one really, and
she's questionable. She, because of the way she treated Adam before Adam decided to be a good guy and stop drinking, she goes out on the turbo dating to find someone else. She's like all like
her friends are all pushing her. They're like, "Oh, he drinks, or whatever." And then it's like, well, apparently he must be a bad alcoholic from the way that they're pushing it so hard. But he
He
probably
does say that. She says that he gets violent when he gets really drunk. That's part of the reason why they broke
yeah.
up.
Well, yeah.
there's like a gold mine there. How come we didn't feel any of that? I mean, my problem was this David Boreanaz guy. He may have been hot shit on Buffy and everything. I don't know. I've never watched those shows.
Yeah. I'd recommend watching them if you hadn't seen them though,
No,
and the Angel too. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, if they're good, they're good. But here, I thought he was like so like one note boring, and there's like one thing where he's like, "Whoa, I'm drinking," I was just like, "Oh, so bad." And she was so bland. I mean, this was sort of like the problem with these movies around in the wake of Scream, where with the WB and and the big budgets. I mean, Village Roadshow shows up at the top of this movie, and Warner Brothers, and it's just got so much money and gloss and slickness to it because they knew they could make. I mean, this movie I think has got too much money in it, but then they're like trying to make it's got that terrible TV characterizations where I could not tell you anything about these even all right, the men at least are like, oh, okay, well, he's a douchebag and he's a nerd. The girls, I can't tell you from how they perform like anything really about them that isn't just like really delivered. Like there was the girl that was supposedly bigger and now she's yeah, right. And so now she's like supposedly insecure, but it's like you don't feel it because for me it's like, and Denise Richards, she's like the promiscuous one who's having a good time. But I mean, for me, the four leads were not very well characterized. I mean, I didn't feel much. It felt like I was watching just bland movie characters saying dialogue like, "Oh, this is like what normal people are like," but there was nothing really, to me, real about them. And they were just it was just kind of like they were stuck in this movie that was just like dragging them through the plot contrivances. And there was just nothing, no heart or blood.
No heart in a Valentine's Day movie.
Exactly. No heart in the Valentine's Day movie.
No, just maggots in a chocolate.
Yeah, maggots in the chocolate. Yeah, the Caulfield, I think, what the Capshaw girl is probably had some personality, I thought, but it was at service to such a nothing story, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they were having a good time, especially Denise Richards' character.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these are the most well-written characters, but her character, more than any of them, I thought stood out pretty good. And I did like the what is her name, the Dorothy character. You said that she was bigger when she was younger, and then she's got some issues. I really like. I kind of felt like her performance though, especially the way that she got very defensive about her shitty boyfriend that she had who was trying to steal her money.
That scene between her and Kate, where they're blaming each other's boyfriends about being the killer. Yeah.
But, I mean, you might not just been. I mean, for me though, I thought that seemed pretty realistic. It was maybe a little bit of a soap opera thing going on within the film, especially really that part to me seems more like a soap opera than most of the other parts that were going on, because she's like got this big mansion her parents do, and then this guy just like he's going to stay in a room, for the week, and the guy's like trying to steal their credit card information, but he's like too dumb to do it,
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. That dude's. I just needed.
Oh, you're talking about Campbell's
bangs. Yeah, Campbell.
Yeah,
those
Campbell,
early
yeah.
2000 bangs with the little spiky bangs. I was like, oh, kill that guy. Oh my gosh, it was like so annoying.
I don't know things like that because I'm bald.
Well, I mean, the guy didn't. I don't know. His hair didn't bother me that much, but his character kind of did, just because it seemed like a soap opera to me for that part of it more than anything. But no, I don't mind a soap opera. Like in Twin Peaks, it's great, and Dark Shadows is great. But here, it just kind of seemed. It's not like everything else in the film. Everything else seems like this time, and then now you've got this sort of this guy coming in there real obvious that he's a shithead, and he's like the most likely one to be the killer, and he actually dies too early, I think, because you kind of thinking he could be the killer, but of course we don't think he's the killer, but that's a possibility. And it's weird that he dies, and then which we should talk about the death some in a minute, but this but what the weird thing about the script is he has an ex-girlfriend who shows up after he's already dead to complain about him. Yeah, but to complain about him and make the Dorothy character realize that he was a shithead, but he's already dead. So the payoff, it would be a lot better if he was still alive when that happened, so she could confront him in another soap opera. It would have been another soap opera scene, but it was but at least we get another probably one of the better kills out of her character showing up.
Oh, my favorite kill in the movie.
Yeah.
Ruthie. Yeah.
Well, but real random shows up just to do some drama and then get killed,
Yeah. I was confused. I was going like, is that the girl from the art gallery? Or I was like,
maybe she is in the movie earlier. I was thinking that too.
I don't know. She shows up at the art gallery. She's in
there.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
Is she the part of the throuple that?
No, she shows up and tells Dorothy he's a scam artist. Dorothy doesn't believe her at that time.
That scene was so awesome. I forgot that it happened.
Well, the thing is that whole art sequence, the art installation is better.
That's a weird shit too. That's kind of like reminds me of the speed dating. It's like, what is going on in this thing?
Oh, that's a cool.
True.
That's a cool cinematography sequence. The way they weave the camera in and out, and they start moving the walls in and out when they're chasing Lily through that whole place.
Yeah, that's a cool sequence when she gets killed. It kind of reminds me out of something like out of a Giallo film or something like that. It is kind of there, but not quite there. But it is kind of like that type of mentality behind that sequence.
I agree. I enjoyed that. Probably, maybe my favorite sequence in the movie was the weird maze of screens, because it was very much of its time, and but also I really liked that. I liked it, and it was Giallo, and the look of the killer I thought was very Giallo. Things I liked. I liked that sequence. I actually liked the look of the killer, because it did remind me of, like, it looked like something you would see in a European 70s
it's all black with a
movie. Black. I like the look, with the pea coat and the gloves and the good knife, and I like the weird over the full face mask. I kind of like that. I like that. That was kind of cool, and a killer Cupid on a Valentine's movie. I like that just conceptually, and he uses an arrow, in that art sequence, which is cool. I'm down with that,
She goes off the back lens in the friggin' dumpster.
Yeah.
So they don't find her for like several days. It's
right. Until she's half eaten by cats.
Actually, they never find her.
No, they never do. Yeah.
So she never shows up in L.A.
They just dumped dumped her ass into a fucking garbage truck. Yeah. She's in a landfill somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So that sequence, but overall, as much as I dislike this movie, I like Jamie Blanks as a director. I think the movie, the script, and the story, and the fact that they had so much money, so they had to make their money back, so they couldn't make it too gory or too this or too that.
Well, I think they cut out some gore, apparently. I was watching some behind the scenes of it. Apparently, they did shoot more gore. But
I don't know if it was really necessarily needed, though. It'd be like his previous movie was Urban Legend. And then after this was Storm Warning, and then Nature's Grave, which I generally liked all of his movies. I can't believe he hadn't done shit since Nature's Grave. I was a little surprised by that.
Well, I do feel like something happened here with this movie. Now, we talked about the budget. It was $29 million. Which
How much?
This is the first
$29 million. Which
this is the first time he's mentioned.
This is 2000. Yeah, this is 2001. That's probably
really
pretty big for now, in comparison to now. The box office take was 36.7 million, which isn't that much higher than 29 million. They probably want to make double the budget, I would think, on a movie like this. And so I think that this really hurt the director, because if you look at, he did Valentine's 2001. The next movie he did Storm Warning 2007, and then Long Weekend 2008. So I think this hurt
Great.
him. I think this didn't go over well. I think.
Yeah. I like his I like it. Okay. I'm going to say two contradictory things here.
Okay.
I like his slick style. I like how he moves the camera. I like how he stages his shots. I like his craft, okay?
It's the script. I'm telling you.
And but then contrary to that, the fact that this movie is so slick and pretty and so well funded and all the people are perfect little mannequin people. It's got too much polish for me. I think the movie had like half the budget and had more of having half the budget. It could have been a little bit more idiosyncratic and taken some more chances and actually had some guts to it. I mean, or like narrowed it down. I mean, so I think it's you can't fault Jimmy Blanks for making a beautiful. I think it's a great looking movie, and I think Urban Legends is a great looking movie. Though I'm not a huge fan of that one. It's like I think it's a great looking movie. It suffers from the same post Scream WB cast slickness that this, and so it's like I don't fault Jimmy Blanks, but yeah, and so I could enjoy this movie from just watching how it kind of played out, but I had to like not listen to the characters and just enjoy it from a pure technical point of view,
Now, some of the set deck is really nice. And they do try to make it look like Valentine's Day, but to me, it doesn't feel that way. Sometimes it does, but sometimes for like you watch My Bloody Valentine, you feel Valentine's Day. This it doesn't. It's something. It's weird the way there's some really awesome set deck, especially in the party scene near the end, but it just something about it just they missed it in some way.
What,
I
what
don't
thing?
know if I want to see people with Valentine's Day decorations outside their homes as people are walking by.
Well, I don't even know if it's not the set deck, but they also have this weird thing that they do, which is cool for some of the people. Like he sends a card to them, and then they look at the card and it says some weird shit on it. Like the first one, well, I got notes on
Okay.
here.
Oh, you're okay. The cards.
Yeah.
Another problem. This movie had too much money. All right, because look, these cards look like they're like completely professionally printed out and made and everything. I mean,
Right,
I'm like,
yeah,
why
yeah.
would the killer do this? I'm just saying they had money for everything in this movie.
Keep in mind the killer also writes for the same place that Kate works for, so that he has some printing.
Oh my God.
Another thing that like make it real obvious that he's the killer, but the cards are very inconsistent. So we get, and also they're like it is kind of like a 10 Little Indians setup, where in the 10 Little Indians poem in the Agatha Christie murder mystery, each one they're killed by this way that the Indians are killed.
Okay.
We're here, you can't do that exactly because they were able to set it up in that story. But this one, say for instance, the first girl who's killed, Katherine Heigl's character, it was kind of like a Drew Barrymore situation because she's only really in the opening sequence. Like she's killed in this morgue where he has to stalk her and he has a hard time because she fights back and she hides in of all places she hides in a morgue, like a cadaver bag, a body bag, and then and then he slits her throat because he's able to unzip it and slit her throat.
Yeah.
And of course the friggin' card says something about slitting her throat in there,
Oh, okay.
So how did he
good.
know? How did he know he was going to be able to get her and slit her throat? Because if you're trying to kill someone like the way he's improvising in some ways, especially when he gets further into the film, how does he know he's going to be able to kill them in the way that he says in the cards?
Well, in that scene, he's like slamming the knife through the bags.
Yeah.
Then he's like, ah. And then I guess he gets his thing. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I wrote in the note. All right, I gotta calm down.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta calm down. When I find her, slit her throat. Remember, stay organized, stay focused, stay focused.
Yeah, it's got to be consistent with what the Valentine's Day card says. I think we only see,
dude.
Yeah, we only see a few, like I think 2 or 3 of them, and then I don't know. They don't all. I think that's the kind of idea with the original novel, and that's something they pulled from it, which is a cool idea. But at the same time, they do not follow through with that in this film. if they'd followed through with it, and some of the noise wasn't quite there, it may have felt more like a Valentine's Day film. But I don't know.
Yeah, because the only real kind of ideal that you get from in general is from the speech that Max gives at the beginning of his art installation, where he's talking about Valentine's and the fact that he splits the males from the females. Up.
That Max character is played by Johnny Whitworth, who played one of the main characters in Empire Records. If you ever seen that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't realize that, but
yeah. He played like AJ in that film. He's like really the main character in Empire Records.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Another
Wow.
But here he plays a very well written character.
Yeah, I mean, as they all are in this one.
No, he's a very, like you said, like he's very intense. It's a pretty intense performance. I do like his acting in it. He's not in it a lot, but
yeah,
a couple of times you see him, he's I think he does a good job of what he's given.
Does he get killed in this?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Oh, okay.
He would be the only male character that's with any of the female characters that doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
He was just too much of a friggin' creep to get killed because he wanted to have a threesome. He's also the art gallery thing. It's weird that he doesn't get killed, but actually like he's really gives it his all in this performance. I mean, he comes off as a real. I mean, the script
slime ball,
yeah, but he like they all do for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to bring up one thing I thought was really odd in this movie is that when the Ruthie character, who's the one who's against Campbell and I guess his last girlfriend who he stiffed, runs and through the base or not basement, but I guess a lower level, and finds the killer.
Oh yeah. That's just hilarious.
The killer is dragging out the dead maid.
Yeah, like, killed the maid. Yeah.
Why the fuck is he killed the maid? I didn't notice that until I rewatched. I was like,
yeah. That's like, that's during like this big ass party going on, and the maid just must have saw him. Must have saw him like walking through the halls, and he had to kill her. That's what I think.
Well, I was just walking around with the mask and everything.
Yeah. And then the maid like saw him with the damn mask on. I mean,
like I would think there may have been other people upstairs with masks on. Like no one knows that there's a killer out on the loose wearing the mask and all that shit. So it shouldn't seem like odd at all. I just thought it was really freaking weird that the maid got killed.
He was dragging the maid. Tried to hide her body.
See, that's the one thing that bothered me when I rewatched. I was like, because see, the thing is this.
That's the one thing that bothered me.
No, because
killed the maid. Fuck this movie.
For me, I understand the era of the 2000 horror films because I watched all these fucking movies in the theater. Yeah. They all seemed more or less the same. When you go back and you rewatch these and you see and you can place yourself in the era that general audiences were willing to go see back then. You didn't see a whole bunch of blood and gore. You had these high impact soundtracks with these young, fresh TV faces, and they weren't concerned about all those hardcore themes and making themes seem realistic. They were all stylized. You watch Urban Legend; it's stylized. It's not supposed to be real.
Urban Legend is a lot of fun. I think that the problem. I don't know. I mean, I do think this is fun. Like you think it's fun, but I think it's also a little headache inducing because the fact that it's like a murder mystery, and once you know who the killer is, if you kind of start to think about it too much, it's like how did he do this and why it's like
all right. Well, we all saw that little nerdy guy, all right, in the opening sequence in the high school, okay? Yeah. All right, I'm not trying to pull this movie apart, but I know we look different than the way we did in high school, okay? But
he had plastic surgery. Okay,
so how much plastic surgery do you have to go?
A lot.
How much plastic surgery? And you would look like you've had plastic surgery. And maybe David Boris looks like that.
Well, keep in mind.
I mean, a completely different bone structure and give me a simian forehead, Doc.
The detective sets that all up, though. He says this is what he could look like 10 years after that incident. But all that's out the window because of plastic surgery and the fact that we don't know what the fuck he could look like now.
It's a dead ringer for the Campbell character, though. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Real quick, let's talk about the first sequence, the opening.
We've talked about so many other sequences
Which
movie, but
which
we
one-
didn't talk about the opening sequence.
Yeah, which I don't like the opening sequence that much, but it's like reminds me of something like Terror Train did.
Absolutely.
Or like
or Prom Night or any
Prom
other
Night.
70s slasher movies is
Yeah.
exactly what that beginning reminded me of.
So it's a really cliched opening sequence for this really dorky kid with glasses and buck teeth. Is how they describe him later. And he comes in and he's got some balls. You know, he walks up to every hot girl there and asks her to dance, and they say no, and he's real upset about it. And one girl, the girl he later dates, says maybe later she's kind of more nice to her. The other one's kind of make fun of him. And then there's a big girl who's like, okay. And then for some reason they go under the bleachers and they're making out because it escalated. This is very young kids. Escalated from like the dance floor to under the bleachers, like hardcore making out. Like you know, I don't. You know. And then the other, and here's the thing: there's like a bunch of boys there, and they found out that he's doing that. They go there and they're like, "What, are you trying to rape her or whatever?" And then they beat his ass. And instead of being mad at the guys for beating his ass and all that, where the hell are the teachers at again? And like he goes after the women who kind of, and on top of that, the one woman who's nice to him, he later dates, and so she starts breaking up with him. And I guess this is maybe what set him off on this thing. And it's also another movie.
Wait.
What was that other one? Like a sleepaway camp, that type of like psychological stuff going on with David Boreanaz's character. Since we only get the reveal at the end, we are not given what we need to believe that he is that same character and why he flipped the way that he does.
No, there's nothing.
No, but
it gives you nothing.
Nah, because I think the ideal, and this is a lot of the problems with those little switchers and change things that they did in the early 2000s, is the fact that you had the red herring. You had to have that person who everyone thinks, or the last remaining final girl thinks is the killer, and then all of a sudden that character ends up not knowing who the real killer is. And the thing is, like I told you, for the moment I saw the trailer for this, you kind of like, oh, it's David Boreanaz and this is the killer. Like, fuck. It doesn't do a really good job hiding it. The movie does a really good job at having way too many red herrings. And after they start dying, you start realizing, well, shit, there's only one fucking male left.
Right. And another thing the killer and that kid does is they bleed from the nose, and that's the tell for later on. That's how you know he's a killer later on. But it's an odd thing, I guess. I don't know.
I kind of like that. I like that. I like the mask.
It helps for the setup. It helps for the reveal at the end.
Yeah.
I don't want to like necessarily nitpick. This is a silly film, and they weren't that concerned with making you believe, making you think about the psychology behind all of this. It is but this is like a situation that, like as an audience, we were all seeing him being the good guy and the only possible person. It might be surprising that he is the killer, but in order to explain psychologically what happens and why he does it, it might be somewhat interesting to know exactly why. Of course, they don't do that because they save the reveal of the killer for the last shot of the film.
They save it for the audience. They save it because the character never knows. But I think that it has to do with a reaction to how Scream did it. At the end of Scream, the killer always reveals the entire. They Scooby-Doo it. It. They reveal their entire reasoning why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, and you're kind of not listening really a little bit. When that happens, it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of goofy, but it's always. I mean, it's funny though what they do.
Especially
I want to be the next best killer, other than the last killer, because I can be a better killer than the.
By part 7, you're just going like, what? What is the reason? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing about the Scream movies, where I think that the later films, like by the time you get to 3 and 4, it starts being okay. None of this makes any sense. While you're killing, they just need the plot device for the movie.
That's it.
Yeah, and and a lot of times, even in giallo films, like
Oh
that
yeah.
happens. It's like sometimes it's like once you hear the twist, you're like, okay, that kind of half-ass makes sense, but not really. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
But if the movie is entertaining up to that point, you go, they just needed to have something.
I
I think this movie is kind of for me, like a vacuum. So you're just like wanting something to put your teeth into, and it doesn't have to be great. I like all types of different slasher movies. Like a disclaimer, I like these bad movies, but this movie, it had some potential to have a little fun with the holiday, and I think it's almost there. It was sort of like dangling there, It's like
yeah.
it's like talking about dating, talking about Valentine's Day, talking about modern relationships, talking about how hard it is to find the right one, and then you find the right one, and he ends up being, a psychopath. Um, See, they never have that conversation because she never really finds out that he's the killer. She thinks he's the right guy. So
he's her savior at the end.
right, right. So he's walking around with that in his head the whole time. I've killed like the maid and all these people.
Yeah. I guess that's but that's another thing I was kind of thinking about or getting at where we don't have, say in Psycho, where he's got like a split personality. It's almost like he's got a split personality, but he doesn't. Because if he had a split personality, it would have been set or set up in some way. But in order for him to separate himself from what he does and the way that he acts normally, I don't know.
I mean,
Especially because he's dating this girl. He's dating her, and they've been in a relationship. She says she even knows his. This is the thing. She says he knows his family, and that's why you don't think he's a suspect, because she actually says that his family's like lawyers or something, and I assume that she's met him, and like, so how could that be the case? And he's actually this other character.
Okay,
other
She
person. Yeah.
I kind of see that as the same as Dorothy and Campbell's relationship. She only knows what Campbell tells her, and I see that's the same way with this. Just like the Max and Lily, Lily only knows what Max tells her. I kind of think that none of these characters actually know anything other than what their significant other tells them, and they believe it wholeheartedly. Except for Paige, who doesn't take anyone. Like, I find her most interesting because she, at the speed date, she goes over there and starts flirting with Kate's speed date, ignoring her nerdy guy. But I think
it was funny how that guy's supposed to be, I guess, the somewhat attractive dude, but he looks really weird to me.
He does.
Brian dude, and then he looks like a friggin' stalker killer or something, And it's like, and that's supposed to be the best guy at the speed dating place.
And we see him later becoming like what's the worst name you could name for a guy? Just wax my penis.
Yeah. It's so dumb, and like the only reason that happens is because he's like, it's like hilarious. Like she actually, Paige is a really big tease.
Yeah.
But she brings him up to the bedroom, and she's like, oh, you had a surprise for me, and it's like, yeah. He takes off his pants. He's like, surprise! I'm like, okay. I mean, it's kind of hilarious, really. But it's like, what did she think was going to happen in the bedroom?
Yeah.
But then she's like, starts making fun of him, and then she's like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, I want you to wax it.
Right.
And like I said before, the only reason he said that is because the scriptwriters thought it would be really clever for there to be a candle in the room and for her to like pour the wax on his dick later.
I find Paige a much more interesting character because of how good she looks. She always gets people to hit on her. But the one moment where that's not really what she wants is that she leaves the party to go to the jacuzzi by herself with a bottle of wine, and Dorothy tells Kate that she does that after every party, which means that she doesn't just go to bed with any other guy. She mostly ends up not getting what she wants or looking for, and ends up there by herself all the time.
Like I said, I think she's just a tease. I think she really enjoys demasculating any man who tries to hit on her. And she goes with it. She actually goes to the bedroom with it and then ties him up and then pours freaking candle wax on his dick. But then the other guy, the detective, who's a much older guy.
Yeah.
She's flirting with him. She's clearly flirting with him in several scenes. And it's actually like second embarrassment for these characters after that happens. But he asks her to stay behind, and he sits her down, and he's just like, "What are we going to do about this?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." Yeah, no, and it's like, "Oh, this sexual tension between us," and she's just like, "Get your hand off my thigh," you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that was very inappropriate for him as a detective.
As a detective, yes.
I mean, it'd be one thing to ask her about it, but to put his hand on her thigh, really, he went from okay, this is normal to like you just crossed a line by the physical interaction with her. And again, making a character who is a the only potentially likable guy in the film, they turn him into a douchebag within a couple of seconds. You know,
it's the power of early 2000s Denise Richards, man. It just makes me crumble.
Yeah, I mean, what?
That's the
kind of inside the police office too, though. You know, there's cameras in there. Like, you know, it's like it's really
but I kind of
thought out well.
A good film that kind of put a parallel to this film with the way the men characters are treated versus how the women characters are. It would be the recent remake of Black Christmas, where all the men are douchebags, and it's the female characters who get their comeuppance over all the douchebags. Did you actually see that, Dave? I know you bought it, but I wasn't sure if you actually saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. Actually, I found the copy of it because it was with my my Christmas movies. I couldn't find it because I have everything in alphabetical order, but then I was like, I have certain sections for some things. But it was with the Christmas movies, and no, I thought it worked in that one because that's really the tension of that one, and that is a really feminist, obvious feminist film.
But it's not as fun as this movie is.
Yeah,
like I told you, like we comment on, I think the 2006 one, was very fun. Was like, dude, I
like that one.
It's very fun. And whereas the very original one is very drab and serious. It's talking about a woman who wants to have a freaking abortion before that became even a conversation in movies, shit like that. They had a very
they do that in the very first Black Christmas.
That's what I'm saying. That's what was in the very first Black Christmas.
Okay, I misunderstood. Yeah, I mean, it looks serious. It looks very cold. The lighting's very cold. It's like a cool blue in that in that newer one. It doesn't feel Christmassy. Like the other ones, you know, the other two, you do get that Christmas feeling in them, but that one definitely doesn't. I mean, when we talk about it, I have some good stuff to say about it, but I do see where they were going with it. I do like Carrie Eloise's supporting part in it, but
we're gonna get to that one this Christmas because we tend to do one Black Christmas each year.
Yeah, they better start making some more of them because we're gonna be out of it after this.
Just make a sequel. Why do they keep remaking it? Make a part 2. Come on. Jeez. Make a sequel to the one from the 2006. That would be a good one.
I thought they killed all the characters in that one.
Probably. I don't know.
I don't know. There's several different alternate endings to that one. So.
Well, no, they can make a sequel to the very, very first one since they never got him.
That's right. Yeah, he's still out there. Yeah, that's right.
But going back to a
legacy sequel. A legacy sequel.
Yeah, a non-Christmas movie. We're gonna go back to Valentine's Day.
Valentine's, right?
This is an interesting conversation where we de-evolved into Christmas.
Yeah, let's talk about other movies.
Something I was gonna point out. This is a funny card. Like during the after Lily's killed, a card sent to her family that the detective has, and it says like, "Too bad, so sad," from Jeremy Melton, who's the kid from the beginning, which is pretty. It's pretty dark, but it's funny that the detective has this. That's what David Boreanaz's character sent to the parents of one of the victims.
Is that what it says? I was a little confused by that. I kept thinking that card is an old card, and she kept in touch with him.
No. That's what the parent. He actually says this. We got this from the parents. It's a remembrance. As it was basically I'm sorry that your daughter died, but instead of that, it says, "Too bad, so sad." I've been waiting for this.
Gotcha. Because that was a little confusing for me for there. I thank you.
For
that because I wanted to bring that up.
I mean, I don't know, guy. Well, so the David Boreanaz character, is a guy. He had some bad experiences back in middle school, and so he said like, "Oh, I'm gonna,
and it wasn't bad enough. It wasn't bad. Yeah, I don't think it was bad enough. I mean, I think it was a little over the top, though. The guy's beating his ass, but it was like,
he's like, well, I'm gonna change my face, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna get all big and and everything, and then I'm gonna get a job, and then I'm gonna work next to the girl that I kind of liked, and it seems like by the time you get go through all that, he's like going I think I feel better about myself,
yeah. I mean, he got the girl.
I'm over it.
He got the girl.
Yeah, I think you're missing the point. I think you're missing the point of what the detective said. A lot of shit happened after that incident. He was sent off to a mental hospital. Where he was on observations. His parents died and all this other stuff. So essentially, when he left the hospital or escaped or however, because they lost track of him, that's when he became David Boreanaz.
Yeah, right.
I'm young stud. But he still had that animosity towards why the ladies and not the men. I don't know. That's a good point, Dave, that you guys mentioned earlier. But
there is a possibility that he did take care of the men already, maybe, but I don't know how he didn't get caught doing it. But it's
he probably, they died from car crashes or random other shit. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
That would be your prequel to this if they were to do a prequel. How the men died first.
Keep your fingers crossed, guys. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll do it.
I had a thought in my head, Uncle, and then you made me lose my thought.
Oh shit! Right.
All I can remember I was going to say was that the fact is there's a lot of time in between when he got out of that mental hospital when he hatched this very elaborate scheme to get back at these women by first incorporating himself with Kate first.
Right.
So, and doing everything. But he keeps mentioning, he does mention that Kate is the one he always liked to begin with. So
I mean, I think that maybe, obviously, like we still talk about the Valentine's Day card. It's very elaborate. He has to make these cards. But maybe some of what he does is actually happens because of his relationship with what's her name? Kate, with that character, because she keeps breaking up with him. And when she breaks up with him, that's when he starts to come up with hatching plans to kill people, because then they're kind of get back. It seems like that may be the case, because him losing her is suddenly what pushes him towards maybe wanting to kill the other people.
You're thinking too much about it, dude. We got random people dying in this movie. We got the neighbor Kate's neighbor who breaks into her house to play with her underwear. Okay,
But that's what he kills that guy, which is friggin'. That's another one of those. Like, once I saw that guy, that was another guy that showed up, a weird dude. I just rolled my eyes. I mean, you guys are way too much into this weird dude.
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
But everyone's a weird dude.
He rhymes everything.
But I mean, it's like it'd be different. Like if there was like some okay guys, But anyways, but that guy though, that's I can explain that one because she tells him that the guy's been messing with her, and that's what causes him to go kill that guy. Because
I don't know why he just happens to pick that time to be dressed up like a sheriff killer, and he finds the neighbor in her house in her bedroom, and he cleans everything up afterwards. Like I didn't think that was really fucking pushing it when he cleans up everything, and then the next scene is Paige is already in the house, and she surprises Kate when she gets back. I'm like, well, that was fucking fast killing. Shouldn't there be blood somewhere? Shouldn't someone be seeing some blood?
How did he kill that guy anyway?
With the iron.
Scary. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
he smashes him in the head, face, body with the iron. I don't know, but there should have been blood somewhere.
Was it? And that for some reason I didn't get that he was in her apartment. I thought that he killed him in his own apartment, but
he broke into her apartment to go play with her panties.
Right, yeah, which you do. So
and of course they use the iron. They use the iron as a visual link that's where he is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, later on it showed the iron again.
Right.
Now, if that's not the point of the iron and everything else, then that's bad editing on the filmmaker's part, because that's exactly the relation I got while watching the film.
There's some oddness going on with this apartment sequence, because earlier on, the first time you see the Gary character, she's in the shower.
Yeah,
and again, this is one. I don't think we see any nudity, but she's in the shower. She puts a towel on. She's getting like weird phone calls and stuff. And she actually goes out into the hall with the towel on. And that's when the weird dude comes out and he starts like making rhyming stuff with her name, like okay, here's another one. What I think that the main reason too, this guy was like worse than any of them as far as once you saw him, it was the very first guy it shows at that Catherine Hagel's character's dating. He's like a really big over the top, like weird like dude, and like he's the suspect for a while. But yeah, once you see this guy, it's like, are they gonna do this like throughout the whole movie? Like show you another like weird guy and see how if we can get him even more weird than before. If it,
that's what it does.
Yeah, but the way, but I was gonna say the way that she walks out into the hall with a towel and down to his room, and it just seems like she almost treats it like the hall's like part of her room. It's really bizarre way of doing. You know, I don't.
I'm
making fun of the movie when I'm talking about this scene. I'm not trying to connect it to anything. I think that completely is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because the door is wide open and she just walks out. At first, I thought, well, is it like a 1-floor flat where her apartment's the entire floor? But then when she walks out and you meet the elevator and Gary is like, no, there's other apartments here. I don't know why she's walking out. In the fucking like, dude, I'm hearing some weird noise from the elevator. That don't mean I'm gonna go walk to the elevator and find the cherub mask in the elevator. Like that's also the weird thing. The cherub mask in the elevator, keeping the door open. I'm like, why?
No. I like the way like the two like in the next scenes are like talking about, and then the elevator was there, and there was a mask on the ground, and they're like, really? I can't believe it. You know?
Well, they do that. They do that a lot in the film. Where we see something and then from like two characters, and then they're gonna go in the scene with the third or fourth character and relay what we just saw. They do that a lot in this movie.
Yeah. And they're doing it with it. Usually when they do it, it's like a steady cam shot where they're walking through something and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's really
what's going to happen? Yeah, what's going to happen in this world next?
No, that right there happens a lot in the movie. I made comment of that. Thank you for reminding me to kind of bring that up. It's like, as a film goer, we don't need to know that you once you learn something, you gotta go tell the other two or one character that's in the group, and we have to hear that whole thing again. And I was like.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay, the cop told us this, so let's go tell our other friend exactly what the cop just told us. All right.
Yeah.
That happens so much in this.
Well, there's two different groups of writers. So one group wrote the scene, and then the next group came in and wrote the recap scene. You know, they divided up the work.
I will say
they're talking about on Netflix. Like apparently, like Matt Damon was talking about how they're making them restate the plot like 3 times during the movie to keep up with people who are looking at their phones.
Right.
So that's kind of maybe what's going on here. But I don't think they're trying to keep the audience up with what's going on. I think in this, they want the audience to connect that all their other friends know it because now they're telling them that.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're right, Dave. I also think that they try so hard to do that, and then also try to change up kind of like if you watch the film closely, you'll realize that murders happen when the audience does not see David Boreanaz.
Yeah.
Especially at the party sequence. I tried to watch where, there's a murder happening. Where the fuck is David Boreanaz's character? Oh, he's not with Kate. He's off drinking. And getting drunk. And then he kills another character. Oh, that's because Adam, David Boreanaz, is in the outs with Kate. Oh, they were very specific on making sure that, if you were to go rewatch the movie, you know that type of stuff was happening. It was like, too obvious. It was too obvious to me.
Almost every scene that David Boreanaz is in, he's in with the Kate character. It's like, and most of the time when they're in, sometimes there'll be another person there, but most of the time there's very few other people in the scene, unless it's like the funeral. There's some extras, but she's not necessarily interacting with most of the other cast members. It's like usually just a scene with just those two characters in it.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
And that probably goes to the fact that you said that they only had 10 days with him.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I did realize that what happens with the David Boreanaz character is that the Kate character learns something, feels bad, and then has to relay that to his character, Adam. And then he comforts her, and then he disappears again until he's needed to do that exact same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's like a rotation.
It's
kind of.
yeah, it's a little repetitive.
Mhm.
When we're paying too much attention, we're paying too much attention to this movie, and we shouldn't be paying any attention. We
Yeah.
should just be
Oh yeah.
enjoying the
Right,
movie.
right, right.
But the thing is, part of our conversations on the show is to pay attention to stuff like this and actually.
Yeah, it really, like, the first time or even the second time I watched it, I was not over analyzing all this shit. But like, since
Oh no,
we have to talk about it, or
Right.
we don't have to talk, since we decided to talk about it, that at that point you take a lot of notes on it, and then you start to notice patterns in the
yes,
movie, and you start to notice things that are, especially as most of us I think all three of us are right at some point, that you start noticing odd stuff in the
Yeah.
I
script.
my interpretations after having watched it just recently again after 25 years of having not seen it. And don't get me wrong, I've seen this movie probably 4 or 5 times
Hmm.
in my lifetime. But all of it happened when it first came out.
Right, right.
The thing is, I believe that when the movie was originally made, and there are those movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream, where audiences were trying to figure out who the killer is and it wasn't, and then going back and rewatching those movies to see if they tracked. I think part of that is why this movie is the way it is.
Hmm.
I
Maybe
think this,
so.
by all means, is a product of its time. I don't think it was like there's a reason why Scream, the original Scream, still holds up really fucking well. I mean, it holds up really well. Besides being
Yeah.
the first of its really kind, changing the whole genre, which it didn't know it was doing. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
innocent when it did all that shit. This film and all the movies that came after Scream were trying to use that formula that they thought they had, that Scream had created, and one up it.
Yeah.
Halloween's a very innocent movie. When it first, no one expected there to be 2,000 slasher
Yeah.
movies that followed after Halloween. Like
Right.
we could watch a slasher movie done 10 years after Halloween and see all of those tropes in those movies because they don't decide to do anything better. They just decide to toe the line. And this
Yeah.
movie just toes the line. It doesn't try to be anything other than what it is aping at all.
I
Yeah.
think I think there was some kind of committee here with
Yeah.
this. It seems like a committee movie where there were a lot of people making decisions,
Absolutely.
and it wasn't like they couldn't do exactly what needed to be done to make the movie the way it needed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's got some nice points and some nice looks and some, well produced in some ways, and they got everything's in focus, and but
Oh, shit.
we're not in that time period anymore. It may because
Yeah,
nowadays
I mean,
with
yeah,
like digital technology,
Yeah.
a lot more opportunity for people to make movies, and so you've got so much more product out there. But now people can make movies cheap enough where they can actually make a weird little thing, and it seemed like in those early 2000s, this was the kind of horror movie you got. It was like this and like J horror remakes, and I mean the best ones were like, I mean, this was like the time where nothing was sacred, and they were remaking Texas Chainsaw and Dawn of the Dead and stuff, and you were so mad. But that's actually some of the better
yeah,
movies that were coming out at the time.
yeah.
Uh,
That Texas
yeah,
Chainsaw
yeah,
Massacre remake was pretty solid, though.
yeah, again, they had 30 years to workshop the idea, but these
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw, the remake didn't workshop shit. They just want to be more violent than the other movies were. Actually, I really
yeah,
liked it. I really liked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Uh, yeah.
yeah,
But I do believe that there is a with horror in the 2000s, and we have already discussed this with previous films that we've talked about, that everybody
mhm,
was trying to find the next trend that would be popular. J horror was extremely popular. These, what you like to call the WB actors in slasher flicks, and was extremely popular. And those studios could sell soundtracks like nobody's ass. Like we got
yeah,
Like we got those soundtracks and all those pop music. Like this one had one too. The music in this one came from its own soundtrack with all those young people. All of them had that at that time. They were committee, yes. They are all committee. They were all high gloss, pretty, looked good.
The thing about yeah.
You know,
I think a lot of this movie seems almost like it could have been made for DVD or made for TV a lot of times. I kind of felt that a little bit about it.
Yeah,
because like you said, they don't seem like they're trying to push the envelope, and a lot of it just seems very, very generic.
It's like a generic. It's kind of like Repo Man. It should just come in a package that says slasher movie. You know, but it's like it's just so overproduced. That's maybe my point. And and so what I like nowadays, you get like weird little movies, you know, that they can shoot for like 2 million. You know, and have some weird stuff in it, or they just don't even work, or they swing and they completely miss. But hey, they take a swing and the movie's got some DNA, a point of view, even if it didn't work, you know.
But this movie, go ahead.
This movie just doesn't seem to. It almost has a point of view of like going like, hey, it's tough. This is what women go through to try to find a good guy these days. You know, it almost has a point of view, but it doesn't really have a point of view the movie doesn't see the world in a certain way other than that guys are douchey. But I don't think that was really what the point of the movie was. I think that was just
that's pretty much the point, dude.
You think so?
Well, I think that it's possible that's the point. I think that a lot of it is they wanted a lot of red herrings. That was part of it. I don't think that the director intentionally made it that way. I don't think that was his idea. I do believe that came from the writers. I could be mistaken on that, but he does seem like he does a good job with the kill scenes.
Yeah,
you know, and that's probably that's what a lot of people were there for. But this isn't. We're not in the 80s at this point.
Yeah,
we're in 2001, and there's a lot better like slasher films out there than what's here. But there are several good deaths in this movie.
Yeah. I think I would have liked them to be gorier, just because I was looking for something to.
They were, but they had to cut them because of the censors.
Yeah, sure. Did this get an R rating or a PG-13?
Probably R. I would think.
I think it was R.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's a soft R. It's a soft R. Because this was the time, everything was PG-13 too, so that was making all the horror movie people mad. Why are they making PG-13 horror movies?
They're making more money, but
they make more money. Like I said, they went for general audiences, and so
yes. Exactly.
It's not sustainable though. Like that bullshit's not sustainable. You can get away with that a couple of times, but then it's going to be like you guys just sold out on this thing.
No, I mean, most of the J horror remakes were all PG-13, dude.
Yeah,
and they were almost all of them were PG-13.
Yeah, those movies are also more mood.
Yes, those. Yes, most definitely, yes. But
some of that though, when they do those type of scenes in the way that they're shot in those J horror films, they can be like the intensity of it could almost be too intense. I think you're right on the PG-13 rating. I'm looking at it.
No, you got rated R.
It is rated R. Okay, I was trying to look it up, but I failed on that. All right, but yeah, I mean it's.
I don't know. Why.
I mean, but some of the intensity of some scenes could be even more scary than just seeing somebody like some crazy over the top gory scene.
Yeah.
More, it's going to leave you with nightmares. Like I don't think people have nightmares about these gore scenes.
Well, I agree. I agree. Sometimes it's just like if you're not going to give me any cake, give me at least some icing to enjoy.
Yeah, or no nudity. No nudity, no gore.
Well, you have to consider the other movies at that time. There was almost no nudity in those horror movies, dude. We love the time we're living in now because there are so many boutique studios now that are producing quality, great horror film and all different types of horror film. In the 2000s, you didn't have those boutique labels yet. You still had major studios producing horror movies. Like you said, this is Roadshow / whatever. I forget the other. There, those were boutique.
Didn't Village Roadshow do The Matrix? I mean,
what's his name? The guy I hate who produced the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Bay.
Michael Bay. Platinum Dunes. Platinum Dunes is not making small budget horror movies. They're making bigger budget horror movies.
Right.
That's what the studios are producing. So they have to appeal to the audience that's watching them right then and there. They're all about making the quick buck. They're not all about making a sustainable film like A24 is doing right now. Like they are doing shit that's way out the fucking box. Way out the box.
Yeah.
But they're doing them on very small budgets. And that's today's dollars too.
Yeah.
Today's dollars. And you wouldn't see Death of a Unicorn in 2000. You wouldn't see that fucking movie.
What example I got? Can you conceive of something like Skimmerink coming out in 2000? Coming out in 2000 at a theater?
Or Men, or Lamb, or The Northman. Any of these movies you would never see in the year 2000 coming out because they wouldn't appeal to a general audience. And that's what major studios wanted. They wanted to make that quick buck like Scream did. Scream was a little movie that made way too much money.
I think this was definitely an obvious, like, it was obvious they were just trying to
cash in.
Yeah, perfect. They were trying. It was obvious, and it kind of failed spectacularly.
Yeah, I don't know if it failed spectacularly.
It was fairly spectacular when they didn't make enough money on it. I don't think they continue to make more of them. So
I don't think they would.
This might be, yeah.
I don't think they really made more money of any of these type of holiday themed movies as sequels. I mean, you can't name like My Bloody Valentine 3D made a shit ton of money at theater, but we never saw a sequel to that shit, and he survived at the end.
Well, I don't mean sequel to this specific movie. I'm thinking that at this point in time in 2001, that's when the audiences started to lose interest in this type of film, especially when they kept getting the same movie again. And I think that the studio started to notice that, okay, well, I guess we need to pull back and try something else since that thing didn't do as good as we were hoping.
Well, I still think that early 2000s they were throwing everything with the kitchen sink at audiences to see what worked. We had Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake worked. The second one did not work. They tried to capitalize on that real fast. It didn't work.
Massacre remake. They did something completely different with that. They went really gritty with that.
Yeah, they
used completely different type of lighting. They would use a completely different type of lighting scheme, and then they used that bleach bypass look on the film, and then it was just very intense. Yeah. And that's completely different than this. This was never intense. Even when people were getting killed, it was kind of like, okay, they're setting up a kill scene here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not very. It could have been on TV. It could have been on TV.
Well, think of it this way: at that time, when I think it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the first one Platinum Dunes put out. What did they do? Platinum Dunes Michael Bay do? All he did was do remakes of all these old ass movies. That's all he did, because that's what they thought audiences wanted. How many of those remakes other than Texas Chainsaw Massacre do you remember? You remember The Hitcher? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. No one cared about that movie. It didn't make as much money. That's why I killed him. He did sequel after sequel after sequel after remake.
Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Amityville Horror. Yes.
Yeah. It was kind of like, whatchamacallit? Those aren't the worst movies that came out at the time,
not the worst ones.
But whatchamacallit? But it's kind of like the start of what we see now with everything is IP, driven.
We're seeing that again. And everything, but this time they got something new. They call it a legacy sequel. That is what we are in now.
Right.
Everything old is new again.
I think it's kind of cool when they actually bring back the old cast. It kind of helps a little bit connect it, but they're not necessarily. They don't always work, but I do think it's cool when they bring back the old cast.
And I'll bring up another movie that I've mentioned several times on this program already. One of the worst ones I've seen last year, which is I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is fucking awful.
I haven't seen it yet. I did get the Steelbook. I bought it. It was on
Oh my
sale, but
God. Sometimes, Dave, I think you need to actually watch the movie before you buy it.
well, I've got the other ones, so I guess I might as well have the whole collection. So, but it's I don't. I mean, I don't. Steelbooks are collectible, but I do like it that they brought back Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt in there, but I hadn't seen it yet. I hadn't seen it yet, but from what I've read, it was them being in it. It's probably one of the better parts of it, but it seems very generic with the kids from what I've read about it.
It's the most generic, bad written, fluff piece of shit I've seen in a long time. Freddie Prinze Jr. was the best thing in the movie, and if I'm saying that,
oof,
exactly.
Oof.
But he actually does a good job. Don't get me wrong. He actually is very genuine.
Yeah.
I used to not like him. I used to not like him that much.
Years.
But I don't know. I kind of like him in like
Jennifer Love
Scooby-Doo.
Hewitt was like, why? Other than just putting their face in the movie, why? Like, she was the worst. This is her worst acting I've ever seen her in.
Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Yes.
Oh, really? Bummer.
But you just wait to announce the supporting actor roles for the Oscars this year.
Not because.
What are you waiting for?
No, see, with that movie, I think that they were trying to make a fucking trilogy and try and bring back like the Scream movies because they set it up for sequels, and that was a bad choice. It was horrible. But that's the trend we're going on now. And out of all the things I've been saying tonight about Valentine, Valentine is just a movie that was following the fucking trend. It just took a holiday that most people hadn't seen a horror film on, plucked it into a slasher flick, and tried to make money off of a very generic ideal that would hopefully appeal to the audience of that time.
To the Scream crowd. Yeah, they just ran it through the Scream machine. And see what
it wasn't
see
clever.
What
The thing about Scream, though, because it's so well done and so good and it sustains itself, is the fact that it's clever and the characters are clever.
Right. You see, Scream, the different people have different personalities.
Yes, but it's still highly stylized because no one talks like the people in Scream.
Right.
Yeah. It's like almost like some Tarantino-ish dialogue, but it's well written though.
Exactly,
and well acted.
I
mean, I think this one's, especially by the women, it's fairly well acted. I think by the actors.
It just doesn't have a Kevin Williamson writing it. If it had Kevin Williamson writing it, he would have been much better.
Well, then he wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer too, the first one, right?
He wrote the story. I don't think he wrote the actual script.
But you can't always. I mean, you can try it, like Tarantino does it, but if you can't always do, like, Scream is its own thing. If you tried to do Scream and tried to do meta and try to make it like that did, you're going to be called out on it really bad. I think I Know What You Did Last Summer and this one, they tried to pull back and go less like meta and more. There's a little bit of it in there, but they just try to go more standard, like try to keep it very leveled.
Well, I think that was on the director's part. I think he went meta when he did Urban Legend, which got him noticed. But then he tried to pull back and do a traditional horror film after that with this. And Storm Warning, which is a much better film in my opinion, is
I gotta see that.
Yeah, Storm Warning is a much better film. I think he went back to what he likes to do and what he does well. It's the same with Nature's Grave, which is a remake of The Long Weekend. But I thought what he did with Nature's Grave was really well done for a remake, which is sad that movie went. I don't even think it got a good release either when it came out. So no one knows about the movie except for people like me who saw Lost Weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
And
there's an older movie called Lost Weekend too. You ever seen that about the alcoholic?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. From what I remember.
Yeah.
I think it's called The Lost Weekend.
Yeah.
Is it Raymond Massey?
No, Ray Milland.
Ray Milland. Yeah.
So, you know what? We talked exhaustingly about this movie, which I did not think we were going to do.
I feel like we talked more about it than the screenwriters did. I mean, I think we did too.
Yeah. Well, before we get done, I do want to talk about 3 of the death scenes that we hadn't talked about.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is if there's anything else we need to discuss. Yeah. And we still haven't discussed the death scenes that we loved. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I don't know if all these are, I mean, the first one's not necessarily one that I love, but the Campbell character gets killed. The soap opera guy that comes into the house. He's on the phone. He's on the phone trying to steal the credit card information, and he's on the and then he gets the call from Dorothy telling him to go light the pilot light, and he's like all like, I mean, he's got a pretty good gig here. All he had to do was just like, just stay with her and not try to steal her shit, and he could have like lived in the house.
Yeah,
and they got a big pool and shit. It's cool, but anyway, so she tells him to go light the pilot light in the basement through a speaker or something, and then he goes down into the basement, and we got another giallo type of scene where the killer like stalks him and kills him with an axe to the back. It's a little uneventful, the actual kill, but the lead up to it's kind of cool.
Well, you're wondering why the killer's in the house, in Dorothy's house at this time, too. I'm thinking that David Boreanaz's character just likes to go to people's random houses whenever he feels like it.
Yeah, this is a really nice, this is a mansion. I would assume that there would be cameras and shit all over the place, but I don't know.
It is weird. It is kind of funny. They've got like a chopping block next to the water heater. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, I okay, that's a great place to have.
Yeah, I guess they've cut their firewood next to in the basement by the water heater.
Yeah. In the basement. That's the place to do it. Yeah,
that's where you want to go. That's where you want to go.
The maid probably goes down there and cuts the firewood.
Chop. I mean, not much swinging, but that was good. It was a cool little thing. He bends down, you see that now the axe is gone, so that was fun. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I like Jamie Blanks. I mean, for that kind of little staging he does.
I think with the second best death scene is the Ruthie character.
Yeah,
and when she sees the maid, we talked about that earlier. It's pretty hilarious. And then she hides. There's this is a pretty long sequence, and she goes and hides in the sauna, and then she goes into rooms and hides, and it kind of goes on maybe a little long, but he does seem like he really enjoys this type of cat and mouse chase thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's always my favorite part of these slasher movies is like the little cat and mouse kind of, suspense set pieces. It was a shame that it was like such a throwaway character who just walked into the movie 5 seconds ago, and now you're spending all this time with them,
Right.
You don't care if they die or not. You want them to die, but it'd be more suspenseful if you knew anything about them,
It needed to be one of the main characters going through this shit. I mean, obviously they wanted to say Dorothy is the red herring character at the end, but
they needed more body count. They needed a higher body count, so they kept adding.
I don't. But you're. The Ruthie character is odd. But then here's how she dies. Though he breaks the shower glass door, and then she's got like shards of glass sticking up, and he pushes her neck into it, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. That was gory enough, but you felt it. It was kind of like an Argento death. Man, that was glad you could just imagine it. So that's the one that I got the most reaction out of.
Yeah. That was my favorite death, next to just above Lily's death. I actually like Lily getting shot with the 3 arrows.
Yeah, that was
flat down into the trash bin.
Actually, my preference of the deaths is Paige's death in the hot tub.
That was pretty good. That was okay.
I can't suspend my disbelief that someone actually has a glass cover for their fucking hot tub. I'm like,
it's plastic. It's like a polyplastic.
Yeah,
it would be odd for it to be clear, but that's actually kind of a cool idea though, because
it's visually for filmmaking purposes, clear is the way to go. But it's like,
but it's a polyplastic cover, which. To me, it's kind of a good idea because you can see what's in the hot tub. Of course, every cover I've seen is like kind of like got a cushion on it and not like that. But she's able to. He gets the damn drill out, which is hooked up with an extension cord apparently, and he drills through there, and then he nicks her shoulder, and then he opens it up and just throws the drill in and electrocutes her. Pretty dangerous stunt for her to pull. She did it herself too.
You got me thinking though. Why is it electric? So he had to go grab a drill with an electric cable and plug it in somewhere outside, and then hope that he gets to where he needs it.
Well, I'm going like, did they set that up? Was there like construction in the?
Well, there's wood in the basement.
Right, they're chopping wood
Dave,
in the basement.
Dave, you bring that up and you made me think about more stuff that I didn't want to think about with this movie.
But it kind of it's pretty hilarious. Remember, was it Slumber Party Massacre when she grabs the saw and tries to run and it's plugged in and it like jerks out of the wall? It's that's great. But here, I mean, luckily not luckily, but they don't do that here, and he actually throws the thing in there, and I don't know. Like maybe there's some construction going on. It's not. I mean, this is this location's in the movie a pretty good bit, that big house, but I don't know if we've ever seen any work going on to establish.
Yeah, they're just kind of there's a power drill there. I mean, I'm going like, I mean, I don't know.
Very large power.
I know if you throw a toaster in the bathtub, you'll get electrocuted, but I mean, it seems like if it's that easy to get electrocuted, I mean, it's just people would be getting electrocuted all the time from like, using a power drill and you step in a puddle. I don't know. I don't know if this was.
It knocks the
power. It was cool.
It knocks the power out of the whole house. So he must have, like, if he had it plugged in outside, it would have been in a GFCI and it would have like just done the GFCI and she wouldn't have killed her. He must have run the extension cord from inside of the house in order to actually kill her. So
yeah, I'm just confused. I don't know.
He may have like had it directly into the breaker box so the power would go out.
I know. Aren't there catches and stuff on these things? Don't they have safety precautions built into these things?
But not in a big mansion like that.
Oh, okay. I got you.
When your house is that big,
you
don't worry about such things.
Nah. Life is cheap when you got that much money.
You're thinking too much logically.
Yeah, I get what the movie's doing. You think she's going to get drilled, and then they misdirect it, and she gets electrocuted. It was okay. It was fine, but
it has a 2-point thing because not only does it kill her, but it knocks the power out, so that makes the rest of the film like dark for the. That was probably the whole point of it, was that they're like, how are we going to get the power out?
Well, not so much that.
Wait, I mean, he could have just flipped the fucking breaker and tore the breaker apart.
It's all about how to get all those people out of the house. It
happens like within 20 seconds too. They're like, "Oh, the power's out. Let's go."
That's when they make that mention. You're like,
party's lame.
When the power goes out, they clear out fast. Is what
you think? Says. They do say. But you think they would just go like, "Wait a minute, I'm going to go check the breaker box."
Yes.
And flip it, and we'll get this power back on like 10 minutes top.
It's like, now they've got like 200 people. That's what I'm saying. The movie's too big. They've got 200 cast, and they've got this giant mansion, and it's just like lavish.
Yeah, because I'm like, Dorothy, who did you invite to this fucking party?
Everybody.
There's way too much talk about the party being lame when it's clearly not lame, and it's
like the most amazing Valentine's party you've ever seen in your life.
But they even decorated it and everything. They hired the maid to decorate it and then killed her.
Thankless. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. Man.
Oh my god. So
who else died?
So other than that, we just got the end sequence with Dorothy and the. So this is the part that's actually kind of hilarious. Like Kate is there's a lot of her and David Boreanaz's character. He comes out and talks to her. There's one other character we missed, the detective, which we don't see killed, but
for 2001, that was a crappy severed head. Man.
Yeah, it looked like a friggin' they got that thing at like Party City or something.
Yeah, dude. By this time, the state of the art had gotten so good. This was like 1981 paper mache severed head.
That thing looks like, though it definitely didn't look like him too much, other than it was bald. Like
that was it.
Yeah. But
like him.
That's pretty weird too. That like she's outside trying to call him, and she just happens to be outside, so she can hear his phone ringing, and then goes to the pond where his phone is near there, and then his head like bubbles up out of the pond. And
I think the funny thing is that David Boreanaz's character had enough time to sever a head.
Oh yeah,
severed any body parts and any person else in this entire movie, but he had chance to sever a head. Which makes no sense, really, because you just kill him and throw him in the bushes. He's outside.
Yeah, I mean, why would he? That would have been a lot better than the head popping up. He should have seen him die, really, but it just to her it was pretty lame. Pretty lame.
I agree.
Yeah, but But then it's like it becomes this sort of David Boreanaz's character. She comes walking in and he's acting like weirder than normally, and
Yeah.
and she's really suspicious of him, but she doesn't tell him that she found somebody outside because she's suddenly like thinking that he is the killer.
Yeah.
But then the audience is too. But then she beats his
Oh,
ass and she goes upstairs and suddenly we think the killer seems to spring on top of her wearing the mask and everything, and then they roll down the stairs and then David Boreanaz comes in like a friggin' hero with a gun and shoots who we think is the killer.
right.
Which would have been cool though. I mean, that was kind of cool if all of a sudden he wasn't the killer. It would have
Yeah,
been better.
much better.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then this Dorothy in the mask, and um, which I think would have been a better killer. Dorothy being the killer,
I
I think,
agree.
is a
I
lot
agree.
better than that, and that would have that would have sat fine with me. I think if Dorothy was the killer, I don't know how they would have ended it after that, but um,
Yeah.
because really, if you think about it, like going all the way back to the beginning, like it was her at the school where he was making out with her, and she was the one who was called out, and and she's dealt with that her whole life and being
Yeah, the guilt.
yeah, and so, but that to me would have been more satisfying. But it is a cool reveal in a way, just the way that it's done. But it's also leaves a lot of questions unanswered by the end of it.
Yeah, she has that when she's drunk. She has that nice, conversation about how everybody has like these perfect lives and perfect relationships, and and she's the pretty one, and this and that, and but she's got this emptiness inside her that she's even going with like this terrible Campbell guy who's not, you know, giving her anything. She's getting nothing out of the deal other than to say she's got a boyfriend, and
Yeah. Not even sex. You can't even get
not even sex, not even sex. They're getting nothing out of the deal. And so yeah, she would have been a good. I would have understood her
Right. Yeah.
more, her pathology more than whatever David Boris's ridiculous plot was.
Yeah. The only drawback to having her be the killer, though, is because the killer was like that was what happened in urban legends. So it would have been
Oh,
urban
right.
legends all over
Right.
again.
That's true.
So I guess they couldn't do that, but it would have made a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Well, that was the problem with urban legends. One of my problems with it was this hulking killer,
Yeah.
pulling people by ropes and everything. And then you find out it's Felisa Greyheart or whatever her name was, who was like,
Rebecca Gayheart.
yeah, Rebecca
Rebecca,
Greyheart, who was like,
yeah.
110 pounds, like soaking wet,
Yeah, it would have been the
know?
same thing here, where
Yeah.
you see the killer on screen a lot, so it would.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
this, very imposing. And then you find out it's like this 5'2", I guess she was wearing boots. But you can imagine.
She had a big ass coat on though, so anybody wearing a coat's gonna look big.
What if I wear a coat? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't even recognize me.
Oh my god, guys. Oh my god. That being said, is there anything else that we need to touch upon in this film?
Well, let's go back to the beginning. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I
Let's recap.
We'll recap when you get your rating in for the movie.
Okay.
How about that?
Got it.
All right, guys, I want to thank you for having this conversation about the film Valentine from 2001, celebrating its 25th anniversary. For everyone here listening to our podcast, you got me confused now. What we normally do is we rate the movies between 1 and 5. 1 being good, 5 being bad. But what we like to do is take
Wait a minute. Wait. 5 is good.
Did I say it backwards?
Yeah. We're going to
got-
you want to do it the opposite way this time?
Maximum.
No,
Game the system.
1 being bad, 5 being good. And what we like to do is take an object, quote, or saying from the film to attribute to our rating. My brain's already screwed up about talking about this film, but what do you two give this film in terms of rating, and what are you going to use to attribute to that rating? Let's start off with you, Conkle.
All right, guys. This movie that the genre evolved past the Scream backlash. All right. So I gotta say, other than make something happen, I was just rooting for him because I like him. I just like him. I don't really like his movies. I like something about how he puts the movies together. I can tell he's got talent, so I root for him. And so I was rooting for him. The movie just let him down. And so, but I was watching this going like, this is like everything. I'm so glad we've gotten past this point in the horror genre. So I'm going to give this movie, and it's all just goodwill to Jamie Blanks. But it only goes so far. I'm only going to give it like half a nosebleed because I can't give it anymore because
half.
I'm giving you half a nosebleed.
All the way down.
Oh wow!
It doesn't.
Yeah,
It's like it just comes out. He goes.
Yeah. I didn't know you disliked it that much.
I disliked it. I dislike
so
it.
So if it wasn't for Jamie Blanks, you would have given it nothing.
Nothing.
He's
nothing.
What about?
I would have given it nothing. Because then you're just saying like I was in focus. I mean, no. It's like no. I would rather watch like an actively bad movie that actually fumbles spectacularly than something like this, which is just like a saltine cracker hold the salt.
A saltine cracker hold the salt. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
For me.
What about you, Dave?
I'm pretty shocked about the half star. I got to tell you.
I was a little shocked too. So
I know.
It's gonna be hard to follow. It's gonna be hard to follow that one up. Man.
No.
Before I rate it, I do want to point out a couple of movies that I didn't point out earlier that this also borrows from. The Burning, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Carrie.
Carrie.
I was thinking Carrie. Yeah.
Okay. Because revenge.
Some parts of it, yeah. But I'm gonna use the Valentine's Day card.
Okay.
As my totem. I would give it 2.5 stars. I think it's fun. I think it's got lots of flaws. I really like the enthusiasm of the actresses, especially. I like the deaths for the most part. I think they're a little too tame. I think that they were cut. But I think it's a bad movie, but I still enjoyed it. So,
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, see, I'm with you, Dave. I would have, if we hadn't had a conversation, I probably would go back to my 3-star rating. But with you guys, I got it knocked down a little bit. The 2.5 axes in the back. Mostly because I still think this is a extremely well produced movie. The movie looks amazing, and I love the chase sequences in this film because Jamie Blanks as the director seems to have a lot of fun with those. I think if he had a little bit more either input or control over the film, I think it would have been much more satisfying, like how I feel about his Storm Warning and his Nature's Graves, which he did later. I think it's really hard to have a successful movie like Urban Legend and then have another one after that without some type of interference from somebody because they're just wanting to get another job. And it took years in between these two films for him to finally get this one made.
Something I didn't point this out before, but with the writing again, like we talked about earlier, for writers, if you look at his other movies, there's one writer billed. There may have been other writers on hand, but there's only one credited writer for all those other movies you just mentioned.
Too many people involved in this movie.
And the other thing I still enjoy about this movie, one of the things I really like about this movie is I like the cast. Like Marley Shelton, Denise Richards, Jessica Capshaw, fucking David Boreanaz. I think it's a great cast. It's the cast that has a lot of fun. I don't think anyone in this film is not having fun.
All
That's
right.
the
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can tell that they are.
they're having fun.
Yeah.
I disagree, but
No,
you
but
guys,
yeah.
you guys, I might just have anger issues or something. I don't know. I mean, maybe I was mad because I had already seen this and I forgot that I had seen it, and that for me is a bad sign when you're going like, wait a minute, I've already seen this, and because usually I don't forget that when I've seen a movie. That's what
Yeah,
this movie
it's a
affected
bad
me.
sign.
I had blocked it out. I had blocked it out.
But
You
yeah,
know.
I watched an interview with Denise Richards when I bought the DVD about I guess 5 years ago, whatever. But and she did confirm that they had a blast making it.
Oh,
And
good.
I do think you do see that in her performance
Yeah,
specifically.
I think they had I think the ladies had a blast making this. I guarantee you David Boreanaz did because he got to not play a fucking vampire for the first time. You know?
Sure.
Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah, he may have been stressed out though because of his
Oh,
schedule, and he was like there for 10 days and had to shoot his stuff real quick and get on to the next movie or show
yeah.
he was working
Well,
on.
from my understanding is, yeah, he was doing movies in between the cutoff, the off seasons when he was doing.
Yeah,
That's when like The Crow, Wicked Prayer was made. It's when this was. He did another movie too. I can't remember what the other one is because I only saw it once. But he was doing these movies because he wanted to have a career outside of doing just television. So he was doing these movies during the break. Same with
yeah,
Sarah Michelle Gellar. She was doing these movies while she had a break in between each season. And you could tell either they had fun or they were stressed
yeah.
because always working.
Right. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
You know,
uh,
yeah,
look at Congo.
I don't know. I think probably I've liked some of these actors and actresses like in other things. I've never seen anything with David. I mean, but I wasn't a Buffy person, so Kevin, you almost maybe had me give it a full nosebleed when you started talking about Denise Richards' character. Because usually the brunette is like the slut, and these generic archetypes, and so the fact that the dark-haired character kind of was more about power, but actually kind of was kind of cold and manipulative, and kind of like it's like you look like Denise Richards. You're just used to guys falling over you, so you really don't. There's no challenge. There's no guys are just like disposable, and she really just wants. She goes off by herself.
Yeah.
I mean that almost that Kevin, you almost made me think that she actually had a character there, and everything. And I was going like, I don't think the movie sells it, I don't think
Oh,
the movie.
I don't think the movie fully sells it either.
Yeah,
I think she
yeah,
sells it for me because of her other characters that she's played in other movies.
yeah,
I think
right.
she likes to play
Contextual,
strong women characters. And
right.
she brings that to every role
Yeah.
she's in. And you
I think
see
that
it
like
in the
Starship Troopers, I think is what really brings when I think of her, I think about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
and she doesn't like playing the dumb ditzy blonde chick in movies. Like
yeah.
every scene that she's in this movie for me, she looks like she's manipulating people and she's not being manipulated by others.
Right, right. She
So
always has the power in
has
all
the
her
power.
scenes.
And
Right.
then when she can't find what she's looking for, she's off by herself, drinking a
Yeah,
bottle, drinking her sorrows away because she's not going to find
right.
what she's looking for. Uh,
Yeah,
and essentially, none of the women find what they're looking for in this movie, and that's part of why I think the theme of the movie is that even though I don't think all men are shit, this movie
yeah,
depicts all men as shit.
yeah.
What going forward after the end of it, he does that nosebleed revealing he's the killer. David Boreanaz's character Adam or Jeremy, whatever.
Adam? Oh yeah,
Jeremy, I guess is his real name. But after that, maybe like she may not know that he's the killer because she gets the blood on him, but she doesn't see the blood, and maybe she doesn't know he's the killer, and then they live happily ever after, and she got what she wanted.
I think that would be hilarious. It's like
yeah.
How I Met Your Mom, It's like,
It's Dexter. It's Dexter.
yeah,
And she married the Dexter. It
Yeah,
doesn't
but now
feel like that shit.
he's killed all the other people. He may, I
yeah,
mean, he may be fine continuing on. If any guy like looks at her wrong, you might go and kill him
yeah,
later. But
right, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They could walk away from this like completely, and she goes like, "Man, do you remember all those friends I used to have? 10 years down the road. Oh my gosh, that was crazy."
Oh Jesus. All right, so for everyone here, we hope that you have enjoyed this conversation in horror, in which we focused on the film Valentine for your great Valentine's Day enjoyment. Um, we hope that you will check out all of our previous episodes, and we will continue to do horror films based on holidays as much as we can. From all of us here at Something Wicked Entertainment, please make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, do that thing you do with your favorite podcast, a favorite podcast app, Spotify, or YouTube. And please make sure to check out our other podcast, Conversations in Hammer Studio Horrors, which delves into the amazing world of Hammer Studio films from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. If you love classic horror films, you're going to love that podcast. From all of us here, please have a pleasant day, and please make sure, men, to love your wives or significant others, and make sure to give them a box of chocolates that don't have maggots in it. Conversations in Horror is a Broken Lighthouse Pictures production, written, produced, and directed by Kevin L. Powers, executive producer Kelly A. Inoka. All contents and material from this episode of Conversations in Horror is copyright 2025 Broken Lighthouse Pictures.